Lu Zhou felt it odd that someone dared to disturb him so late at night. This did not seem like a foolish thing the Qi King's mansion would do. It must be something else. Come in. Upon hearing this, Qin Ruobing pushed the door open and walked in. She had changed into a more solemn and elegant attire, looking quite graceful and beautiful, a real beauty indeed. Lu Zhou glanced at her briefly before closing his eyes again. What is it? Qin Ruobing kneeled respectfully and said, I heard that the old master is from Evil Sky Pavilion, and I have come to apologize. Lu Zhou said nothing, thinking to himself that if he were really that petty, would she still have the chance to apologize here? Moreover, she had not offended him earlier in the hall, so there was no need for an apology. After bowing her head, Qin Ruobing continued, Qin Ruobing boldly wishes to ask to become your disciple. She then respectfully touched her forehead to the ground again. Lu Zhou opened his eyes and spoke indifferently. Who gave you the courage? Qin Ruobing hastily replied, from a young age, Qin Ruobing has heard of the various deeds of Evil Sky Pavilion and has aspired to become a cultivator like those of Evil Sky Pavilion. Since childhood, I have admired only one person, and that is you, master. Please accept me as your disciple. After saying this, she respectfully touched her forehead to the ground again. Seeing this, Lu Zhou was somewhat speechless, realizing that she was just a fanatic who had grown up listening to various legendary tales. As a time traveler, Lu Zhou naturally knew of such enthusiasts, especially since the infamous old demon Qi had countless admirers. It never occurred to him that even the daughter of the Grand Qi King's mansion would act like this. He didn't know whether to be pleased or not. Her talent was simply too poor, and besides, the 9 disciples he already had were headache enough. Just as he was considering how to refuse, Qi King Qin Jun hurried in, came up beside Qin Ruobing, and slapped her across the face. How dare you? Who allowed you to barge into the old master's room? Qin Ruobing was immediately stunned. She had never been hit before in her life, and never expected her father to strike her over this. Qin Ruobing felt wronged but dared not say anything, only covering her cheek. Qin Jun knelt before Lu Zhou and said, Forgive me, old master, my daughter does not know manners, and I will surely punish her. Lu Zhou appeared calm on the surface, but inside he sighed slightly. She was an admirer after all, and this slap was her punishment. Leave. Upon hearing this, Qin Jun quickly pulled Qin Ruobing and left the room. After they departed, Lu Zhou returned to his bed and closed his eyes to continue contemplating the heavenly writing. While contemplating the heavenly writing, he could sense what was happening inside and outside the room, unlike at the beginning when he was completely immersed and unaware of his surroundings. Thus, Lu Zhou felt at ease. Time quickly passed to the next morning. When the butler Hong Fu came to Lu Zhou's room to seek an audience, the master ordered me to wait here. He left the mansion early in the morning to go to the imperial city and will return within an hour. Lu Zhou muttered to himself after hearing this. An hour? Hong Fu quickly bowed and explained, Eunuch Li is a favorite of the Empress Dowager, and he needs her permission to leave the imperial palace. An hour later, a voice came from outside the living room. Eunuch Li, this way, please. Qin Jun brought a person wearing a long robe and of slender build into the room. Old master, Eunuch Li has arrived. This is the old master I mentioned to you. Qin Jun introduced them to each other. The appearance of the other party surprised Lu Zhou, indeed fitting the traditional look and demeanor of a born eunuch. This was the highly skilled cultivator from the Empress Dowager's side. Eunuch Li with the mysterious dark palm seal. Li Yunjiao, with his hands clasped behind his back, looked up and met Lu Zhou's gaze. Having spent years in the palace, he had never seen the Evil Sky Pavilion Lord in person. At their first meeting, he was overwhelmed by Lu Zhou's formidable aura. It wasn't just his high cultivation level, but also the kind of presence that comes with high office. It takes more than a day to freeze 3 feet of ice. He had only ever felt this kind of imposing aura around the emperor. Lu Zhou spoke, addressing him directly. So, you are Li Yunjiao. Before coming here, Qin Jun had already informed Li Yunjiao about who he was meeting, so he was not angry. I am indeed Li Yunjiao. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou called out for Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu understood his master's intention, turned to look at Li Yunjiao, and then spoke. It was indeed this man who was found near Green Sun Mountain. When Li Yunjiao saw Zhao Yu, he frowned slightly. Is it you? Lu Zhou said indifferently. Speak. Li Yunjiao smiled and replied with a bow. I am a bit confused. I was invited here by Qi King for a small gathering and heard that the old master is from Evil Sky Pavilion. I was eager to meet you. It seems you were not pleased. Qin Jun quickly explained. I had no choice but to use this as an excuse. I hope the old master will forgive me. Lu Zhou waved his hand, not minding. As long as Li Yunjiao appeared it was enough. You should be very clear about what I am referring to. I will not repeat my question a second time. With these words, the atmosphere in the hall immediately became tense. Li Yunjiao glanced at Qin Jun, then slowly began. I am aware of Evil Sky Pavilion and the reputation of its 9 disciples. I did not expect the old master to visit the divine capital personally. Whatever the old master wishes to know, just ask. I will withhold nothing and tell all. His voice was very shrill, making one's skin crawl. Lu Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Is Zhao Yu from the palace? Li Yunjiao answered. Yes. Did you leave the cold poison of the mysterious dark palm seal? Li Yunjiao answered again. Yes. Reason? This question seemed to hit a nerve, and Li Yunjiao paused, not answering as promptly as before. After a moment of silence, silence, he spoke. Old master, I cannot and will not disclose the reason. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou did not waste words. He raised his right hand, and a golden talisman card appeared in his palm, suddenly brightening the dimly lit room. The dazzling light burst forth, and Li Yunzhao's eyes widened as he staggered 3 steps backward. Old master, Lu Zhou remained silent, delivering a single palm strike. Outside the room, a ghostly blue vortex immediately appeared, and from within the vortex, a purple lightning bolt shot down through the roof. Seeing this, Li Yunzhao hurriedly used his proud, mysterious, dark, forceful energy seal, but it was useless. The powerful force pierced directly through the mysterious, dark, forceful energy seal, striking him. The next second, he screamed in agony and was thrown out. He rolled into the courtyard. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth as he gasped for air, his eyes filled with disbelief. He clutched his chest with one hand and supported himself on the ground with the other. Almost no one saw how Lu Zhou made his move. This supreme expert did not show any signs of his prowess before being flung away with a single move. Just one move. The entire hall and courtyard were dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. The disturbance was too great, and the guards of Qi King's mansion quickly arrived. Qin Jun shouted loudly, "When Evil Sky Pavilion makes a move, who dares to intervene?" Hearing this, many guards immediately turned around and left the courtyard. Li Yunzhao coughed twice and struggled to stand up. Although he appeared calm on the surface, his heart was in turmoil. The divine capital was filled with many experts, but he believed no one could defeat him in one move. "I have learned my lesson," he said, bowing respectfully, utterly convinced. Lu Zhou's expression remained calm as he simply commanded, "Speak." Li Yunzhao helplessly shook his head and said, "I have heard that the Pavilion Lord of Evil Sky Pavilion has astounding skills, and I have always wanted an opportunity to spar with the Pavilion Lord. Even if I were to be defeated, I would accept it wholeheartedly. I have lost to this move, thunderous energy." He continued, "When Princess Yunzhao was giving birth, a red moon appeared in the sky, a sign of bad omen. I was ordered to eliminate the disaster star." This statement was laden with information, causing Zhao Yu to shudder and turn pale. "Princess Yunzhao is my birth mother?" Li Yunzhao nodded in response. "Yes. Although you have no official status or imperial decree, in terms of emotion and reason, I should pay my respects." After saying this, he straightened his clothes and knelt down. This bow essentially confirmed Zhao Yu's identity. It's important to note that the person bowing was Li Yunzhao, a favored individual by the Empress Dowager. Li Yunzhao did not wait for Zhao Yu's response before standing up. "Princess Yunzhao has always had a hard life. I couldn't bear to see her lineage end with her, so I did not strike fatally, only leaving the mysterious dark palm seal." Lu Zhou's expression remained calm. "Your handiwork, the Crimson Moon? Who instructed you to act?" Li Yunzhao hesitated upon hearing this. "You refuse to speak?" Lu Zhou, with hands behind his back, stepped forward to the front of the hall. Li Yunzhao quickly said, "Why must the old master press me? Zhao Yu is my disciple. Is it not right for me to seek justice for my disciple?" Upon hearing this, Zhao Yu was profoundly moved. Li Yunzhao fell silent for a moment, then said, "It's not that I don't want to say, but the one who sought to harm Princess Yunzhao was a concubine in the palace, who has already passed away. I only wish to keep the peace." Lu Zhou stroked his beard and stepped forward, saying, "I persuade with reason, and the rationale has been made clear, but sadly you do not listen." Li Yunzhao frowned at these words. "I was careless just now and was inadvertently struck by the thunderous energy. Having survived in the palace for so many years, how could I not have some skills? I am aware of Evil Sky Pavilion's strength, but I had no choice but to resist." As he spoke, he ignited a robust primal energy, and his forceful energy automatically coalesced into form. Qin Jun, seeing this, was unsure how to mediate. After all, this was the divine capital. If two great masters were to battle here, it would certainly cause a great disturbance. To ensure the peace of the divine capital, the city's garrison might have to intervene. If the regular troops couldn't manage, the Imperial Guard would step in until the Cultivator's fight was suppressed. Divine capital's prosperity, filled with hidden dragons and crouching tigers, how else could it avoid large-scale battles for so long? It relies on the palace guards. Otherwise, divine capital would have been leveled by cultivators long ago. Most fearsome of all is the 10 absolute formations set around the palace by the world's skilled cultivators. The existence of the 10 absolute formations is enough to deter all cultivators in the palace from acting rashly. Qin Jun naturally did not want to see these two masters fight and had no choice but to try to break it up. "Both of you, please, speak calmly. If the palace is alarmed, what then will we do?" Li Yunzhao's sharp voice rang out, his aura intensifying, clearly not planning to stop. "My master is the current Empress Dowager, representing the royal face. If I am defeated, it is as if the royalty is defeated." Seeing this, Lu Zhou shook his head, stubborn to the end. With that, he flicked his sleeve and threw out a talisman card. The next second, a mini azure lightning vortex spun out again. Li Yunzhao's expression changed, his mysterious dark forceful energy already formed, swirling around his body like a tornado. However, when the blue vortex reached him, another bolt of lightning struck from the sky. With a loud boom, it struck precisely. Li Yunzhao was flung back again, this time flying much farther than before. Before the onlookers could grasp what had happened, Li Yunzhao had already crashed into the thick wall of Qi King's mansion, leaving an outline of a human figure. figure. There was a strange, deathly silence within Qi King's mansion. Wasn't Li Yunzhao's posture formidable just now? He said he had means. Wasn't he a high-ranking expert by the Empress Dowager's side? Why couldn't he take a hit? Was he made of paper, or was Li Yunzhao simply a fake, with no real skill, just a mediocre cultivator filling a spot? The crowd was filled with doubts, but only Lu Zhou remained calm. This card still only repelled him, without lethal effect. If you really hit this 1% probability, then don't blame this old man. A moment later, Qin Jun couldn't help but shout. Uniquely, Li Yunzhao did not respond, his eyes lifeless, his lips trembling slightly. He grunted softly and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Lu Zhou, stroking his beard, watched him nonchalantly. This time, he was indeed injured, having triggered a 30% chance to wound the target. Lucky for him, he didn't die. All of Li Yunzhao's remaining confidence and pride were obliterated in that moment. What supreme expert, what #1 eunuch of the inner court, before the evil Sky Pavilion Lord? He was nothing. People always say how powerful the old demon Ji is, but there's no clear measure or reference. Qin Jun didn't know how strong Lu Zhou was, but he knew Li Yunzhao's cultivation level. Someone who could stand shoulder to shoulder with the 8 great leaders could not withstand a single move from the evil Sky Pavilion Lord. The difference was clear. Qin Jun asked again cautiously, "Uniquely, are you alright?" Li Yunzhao steadied his breathing, suppressed the surging blood. Princess Pingla passed away long ago, and she had a deep enmity with Princess Yunzhao. In a moment of folly, Pingla ordered me to attack the daughter of Princess Yunzhao, who is also the 5th disciple of the old master, Zhao Yu. Lu Zhou continued to press. What caused their enmity? Li Yunzhao showed a look of regret and answered, "Both princesses were in love with the conquering West King, but alas, he chose Princess Yunzhao. The conquering West King later died in battle, leaving Princess Yunzhao alone. Such a pity, such a pity." Conquering West King? Lu Zhou asked, puzzled. Li Yunzhao sighed deeply. It's taboo to speak his name in the palace, better left unmentioned. At this moment, Qin Jun bowed and said, "I had the honor of meeting the conquering West King once before he departed for the campaign in Lulan. Truly a man of his generation, known for his military prowess, a towering figure, but I had no idea he had a relationship with Princess Yunzhao." Upon hearing everyone's words, Zhao Yu's legs gave out, and she leaned back against the door frame. Little Yuaner quickly came to support her, whispering words of comfort. "Sister, your life is truly hard." Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou was at a loss for words. The girl didn't know how to comfort someone so blunt and straightforward, but her heart was in the right place. Zhao Yu shook her head and said, "I'm fine." Seeing this, Li Yunzhao continued, "I sympathized with Princess Yunzhao back then, and boldly went against Princess Pingli's wishes. To avoid detection, I only left behind the cold poison of the mysterious dark palm seal. Otherwise, why would Princess Pinglu have let her leave the palace walls? I always thought, as long as she never pursued cultivation and lived a happy life as a commoner, the cold poison would never activate. But later, when I heard that Zhao Yu had joined Evil Sky Pavilion, I have been looking for an opportunity to cure her of this poison." Little Yuaner snorted softly. "So you're saying, you actually saved Sister Zhao Yu?" Li Yunzhao bowed slightly. "I dare not take credit." The scene quieted down again. After a moment of silence, Lu Zhou spoke. "I have always persuaded with virtue. If what you say is true, I will spare your life. But if I find even a hint of falsehood, I will take your head." Hearing this, Li Yunzhao shuddered in fear. Lu Zhou then changed his tone. "Death can be avoided, but punishment cannot." Upon hearing this, Li Yunzhao's face stiffened. Lu Zhou moved his arms, considering how to deal with him. "It's true you showed compassion and did not fatally harm Zhao Yu, but that can only save your life." Just then, the little eunuch standing by suddenly started clapping. Truly brilliant. Everyone turned to look. The eunuch took off his hat, revealing his full face. It was Prince Lu Bing. Li Yunzhao respectfully knelt and saluted. "I pay my respects to your highness, Prince 4. Qin Jun showed a look of surprise. Unexpectedly, this person was Prince Lu Bing, who had just returned from the frontier. Qin Jun hurried over to pay his respects. "Your highness, I greet you." Lu Bing looked older and more weathered than expected, with a sternness honed on the battlefield. He bowed to Lu Zhou. "The master's skills are truly astonishing." Li Yunzhao, despite being a nascent divinity tribulation realm practitioner of over 6 leaves, couldn't withstand even a single move. Lu Zhou turned to look at him. "Are you here to stand up for Li Yunzhao?" Lu Bing smiled in response. "I have long admired the master, and I do not intend to defend him. He got what he deserved. However, one must consider the owner when beating a dog, and Li Yunzhao is, after all, a royal dog. I cannot remain silent." Lu Zhou nodded. "That is very good." Li Yunzhao felt terrible, even worse than when Lu Zhou had overwhelmed him with 2 moves. Even the prince spoke this way. It seemed he could not escape this predicament. Lu Bing politely inquired, "How does the master intend to punish him?" Lu Zhou's gaze fell on him. "Does this old man need to report to you?" Lu Bing was taken aback by this response, feeling somewhat stifled. This was much harder to deal with than the legend suggested. Not only was his cultivation fearsome, but his temperament also seemed peculiar. "The master is too harsh. I will not interfere with whatever punishment you deem fit for Li Yunzhao," Lu Bing said. Li Yunzhao furrowed his brows and shouted, "Your highness." Lu Bing glanced at Li Yunzhao. "I fought alongside the conquering West King to conquer the West. We weren't close friends, but we were comrades in arms. robes. You've brought ruin and destruction to his family. I cannot protect you. After saying this, he stepped back and looked away. Li Yunjiao was stunned and could only resign himself to his fate. Bowing deeply to Lu Zhou, "Master, your cultivation is profound and unfathomable. I am thoroughly convinced and willing to accept any punishment." Lu Zhou nodded. "I will cripple your cultivation. Are you content with that?" Li Yunjiao's face turned extremely grim. Being stripped of his cultivation was no different from being killed. He had not expected the old demon of Evil Sky Pavilion to be so ruthlessly merciless. Lu Zhou noticed his change in expression. Not satisfied? At the same time, a thunderous energy card appeared in his palm. If Li Yunjiao still was not convinced, he would continue using thunderous energy to beat him into submission. Li Yunjiao quickly responded, "I dare not disagree. I have something to say, and I believe after you hear it, Master, you will change your mind." Prince Lu Bing turned around, looking at this old eunuch with interest. His impression of Li Yunjiao was neutral, as he had mostly been campaigning on the frontiers and had only interacted with Li Yunjiao a few times since returning. He had intended to familiarize himself with Li Yunjiao, thinking it might be useful to have an insider at the Empress Dowager's side, but it turned out Li Yunjiao had quite a few tricks up his sleeve. Li Yunjiao anxiously replied in fear, "I have served the Empress Dowager for 50 years. In the Deep Palace, there are few whom the Empress Dowager trusts, and I am one of them. The Empress Dowager possesses something that likely has connections to Evil Sky Pavilion." Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou's interest was piqued, recalling the location shown on the ancient sheepskin map, which indeed pointed to the Imperial Palace. Could this item really be within the palace? Could this be an unexpected fortune? Continue. "This item is a book without words. It was exchanged for the Imperial decree that the Master took away years ago." After saying this, Li Yunjiao began to cough violently, clearly realizing that he had misspoken. Speaking incorrectly at such a critical moment was truly courting death. Seeing this, Lu Bing interjected, "You're betraying the Empress Dowager. You'd be sentenced to death if you return." Li Yunjiao shook his head. "Your Highness has just returned to the divine capital and may not understand many things. Please allow me to explain. After the Imperial decree went missing, everyone was searching for it, but only the Empress Dowager knew it had ended up in the hands of Evil Sky Pavilion. The Imperial decree was originally managed by the Emperor, but he was ill for several years, so the Empress Dowager managed it in his stead. When the decree was lost, the Empress Dowager was in a state of panic and sent people to Evil Sky Pavilion. Lu Zhou had no memory of this, so he remained silent. Keeping silent was the safest way to avoid mistakes. Li Yunjiao continued, "The Master did not return the Imperial decree, but instead gave a book of wordless heavenly writing." Lu Zhou suddenly realized this wordless heavenly writing was probably a fragment of the opening volume of heavenly writing. "Where is the heavenly writing?" Hearing his question, Li Yunjiao quickly replied, "Still in the palace." At this point, Li Yunjiao intended to exchange the wordless heavenly writing for his cultivation. Coincidentally, Lu Zhou had already given the royal token to Jian Aijian, who used it to open the inner treasury, thus returning the key to the royal family as if it was fated. Lu Zhou called out, "Zhao Yu, you are the victim, you decide his fate." Knowing that the wordless heavenly writing was still in the palace, Lu Zhou had various ways to retrieve it. There was no need to settle for Li Yunjiao. He gave the decision-making power to Zhao Yu. Zhao Yu bowed and said, "The Master's belongings should be taken back. He ultimately saved my life by a twist of fate. If he lied, we can kill him later." Lu Zhou was very pleased to hear this, thinking that his disciple had not been taught in vain, finally understanding to think of his master. "Li Yunjiao, did you hear clearly?" Lu Zhou asked. Li Yunjiao's face brightened, and he answered, "I understand. Tomorrow at this time, I will bring the items to meet the elder." As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly looked behind. "Someone is here." At that moment, from a distant tower, a shimmering golden concealed weapon whistled towards Li Yunjiao. The figure that launched the weapon disappeared in an instant, clearly intending to take Li Yunjiao's life while he was injured. However, the assailant clearly underestimated Li Yunjiao's capabilities. Even injured, he was not someone who could be killed by such a weapon. Prince Lu Bing frowned deeply. "Li Yunjiao, it seems you are not fully trusted." Li Yunjiao turned around and said, "It's just some people with ulterior motives who dislike me and want to get rid of me. This kind of thing has happened too many times." Lu Zhou's gaze fell on the concealed weapon on the ground, thinking that to use a concealed weapon to this extent, it obviously was not an ordinary cultivation expert. Li Yunjiao's gaze continuously searched the surroundings, attempting to locate the target, while cautiously saying, "My life is not worth much. If the Empress Dowager did not trust me, I would have died long ago. How could I have lived until now?" At this moment, a black figure flashed from the corner of the tower and quickly fled into the distance. Seeing that the assailant had escaped far, Li Yunjiao's voice distorted with anger. "Despicable scoundrels, truly hateful." Lu Zhou shouted, "Yuan'er, bring them back." Disciple obeys. Little Yuan'er was extremely delighted to receive such an order for the first time. After speaking, she tapped her toes and rushed towards the sky above the Qi King's residence. The Brahma heaven silk bloomed like a rose. Stepping on the cloud-stepping boots, she used the 7 stars gathering cloud step, moving like a hidden dragon, appearing and disappearing. Within a few breaths, she had caught up to the assassin. Li Yunjiao swallowed in surprise, shocked. Such speed. At such a young age, she has such much cultivation. Given time, how high will this girl's achievements be? Immeasurable. Lu Bing clapped in admiration. The rumors say that disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion are all exceptional, and seeing it today, they truly live up to their reputation. Admirable, admirable. Lu Zhou coldly glanced at him. You talk too much. After hearing this, Lu Bing became immediately embarrassed and said, I just wanted to get acquainted with the elder. I have returned from the western frontier and do not know much about many things in the divine capital. I like making friends the most. With such cultivation as the elders, it would be a regret of life not to drink and talk about life with joy. Lu Zhou asked, did you visit the Heaven Sword sect? Lu Bing shuddered. Does the elder know about this? The elder really is well informed. Indeed, I have been to the Heaven Sword sect, but unfortunately, Luo Xingkong was obstinate and insisted on setting up a life and death arena. Sadly, it did not end well. Do you know about the Lotus platform? I've heard a bit. I heard that the elder is kind-hearted and has saved many cultivators. There are rumors outside that the elder is a great benefactor and a living bodhisattva of this era. Do you think I should not be a great benefactor? No, on the contrary. If the elder is not a great benefactor, then who else could be? If it were not so, those cultivators would have met untimely deaths long ago. He felt the conversation was taking a dangerous turn. This old demon Ji seemed not easy to befriend, and he might offend him at any moment. Geez, he almost blurted out that these cultivators were coerced by the elder to speak well of him. Even though he believes this version is more truthful, he can't say it in front of old demon Ji. Lu Bing somewhat regretted coming here. Just at this moment, little Yuaner landed in the courtyard, holding a black-clad cultivator. System prompt: captured a nascent divinity tribulation realm target. Rewarded 200 merit points. Li Yunzhao glanced over, surprised, and said, Energy C is destroyed. Such a fierce girl. Little Yuaner bowed and said, Master, your disciple feels wronged. It was not intentional. He kept trying to run. I could only break his energy C with one punch. Speaking the most hair-raising words in the most leisurely tone. Is this the smallest disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion? Li Yunzhao had to admit, he needed to reassess the Evil Sky Pavilion and correct all his past misperceptions of it. Even if old Demon Ji was no longer capable, these disciples had already grown up. Who could guarantee that among those 9 disciples there wouldn't be a second or even 9th old Demon Ji? Qin Jun nodded. I think Mr. Ninth handled it cleverly. Don't forget, such scoundrels are very cunning. Only such treatment is foolproof. Lu Zhou praised with satisfaction. Very good. Little Yuaner giggled, her heart blossoming. Thank you for the praise, Master. I will work even harder. Li Yunzhao and Prince Lu Bing were speechless, thinking the style seemed a bit off. Little Yuaner then walked over to the assassin, hands on her hips, and asked, Who sent you? If you don't tell, I'll take you back to the Evil Sky Pavilion and let my 3rd and 4th brothers torture you. My 4th brother has many ways to torture people. The man in black did not answer, but quietly took something out and stuffed it into his mouth, then immediately bit down. His eyes bulged, and he tilted his head and died. Little Yuaner panicked internally. Such a coward. Little Yuaner looked innocently panicked and quickly turned to her master. It wasn't me who killed him. Seeing this, Li Yunzhao explained, he bit his tongue and committed suicide. He had poison hidden in his mouth. Such people live on the edge of a knife, with their heads tied to their belts, ready to commit suicide if captured by the enemy. Lu Zhou shook his head and sighed. What a pity. It would have been better if little Yuaner had finished him off directly. At least there would have been merit points as a reward. He couldn't help but wonder, had he been training them wrong? Qin Jun exhaled deeply. That is better than escaped. After all, I invited Li Yunzhao here. Now I just hope that Prince Lu Bing doesn't talk nonsense after returning to the Imperial City. As the evening approached, Li Yunzhao bowed and said, Elder, I will come again tomorrow. Farewell. Lu Zhou did not speak, which was taken as an acknowledgement of his departure. Prince Lu Bing appeared somewhat embarrassed and asked, Should I also leave now? Looking at his thick-skinned appearance, Lu Zhou was reminded of Jian Aiqian and thought to himself, You do resemble him a bit. Lu Bing, puzzled and not understanding who the he was in his statement. Lu Zhou shook his head and went back inside the hall. Better not to mention it. Jian Aiqian had been out of touch for a long time. The last time he was located was through Ming Shireen. After all, as a prince, Jian Aiqian did not want to get involved in palace affairs and probably would not return to the divine capital. Just as Lu Bing was about to follow Lu Zhou, little Yuaner blocked him. It's already dark. Why haven't you left yet? Doesn't my master need to sleep? After hearing this, Lu Bing smiled and said, Elder, no matter what, I truly do wish to make more friends. Don't rush to a decision. Having one more friend is always good. We will meet again. With that, he left the place. Lu Zhou did not stop him. He did not want to get involved in the various power struggles of the Imperial Palace. Lu Bing had just returned from the frontier, and his foundation was unstable. Many people were watching him. This could be inferred from his disguise as a young eunuch. Little Yuaner returned to Zhao Yu's side, glanced at her senior sister, and recalling her senior sister's tragic experiences, couldn't help but sigh. Senior sister, thinking about it now, I am much luckier than you. Lu Zhou knew little Yuaner meant to comfort others, and also wanted to express that she had been unaware of her own blessings, but it sounded a bit strange. At this time, many servants began to tidy up the courtyard. Qin Jun's son, Qin Shua, stretched and came over. Father, are the guests still here? Qin Jun said. Don't wander aimlessly. Curious, Qin Shua asked, "Who is he?" Hearing this, Qin Jun looked back towards the direction of the hall and said, "The place your sister often mentions." Upon hearing this, Qin Shua immediately froze in place, as if struck by lightning. Qin Jun did not pay him any attention, but instead went into the hall and bowed. "Elder, I truly did not know that Prince Lu Bing would come along. I hope the elder will forgive me." "You don't recognize him?" Lu Zhou asked. Qin Jun sighed. "Prince Lu Bing has been on the frontier for many years, and he was very young when he left. Now he has returned as a middle-aged man, and his appearance has changed greatly. Plus, with his disguise, I didn't recognize him at first." Lu Zhou muttered. "Since he is a man of the frontier, why would he form factions like the other princes?" Qin Jun answered, "Just self-preservation. It won't be long before Prince Lu Bing's military power is stripped away. By then, he will be isolated and without support. He has no intention of harming others, but others have intentions against him." At this point, Old Hong also sighed deeply. Lu Zhou nodded. "You've done well. I always distinguish clearly between gratitude and grudges. What do you want?" Upon hearing this, Qin Jun repeatedly waved his hands. "I dare not. I am not one of those greedy people in the cultivation world. I would not dare covet anything from the evil Sky Pavilion." Lu Zhou nodded and turned to leave. "Sleep then." Qin Jun walked out speechlessly and said to Old Hong beside him, "Old Hong, did I miss something?" Once outside, he saw Qin Shua still frozen in place. Qin Jun instructed, "Help him back." With such timidity, how can he inherit the family business in the future? Meanwhile, Ming Shirin returned to the evil Sky Pavilion and handed Lu Qiuping over to Pan Zhong for strict supervision, then immediately headed towards the divine capital. But halfway there, he suddenly remembered a problem. "Where's Master? How can I find Master?" In the afternoon, at the Qi King's residence, a familiar carriage appeared at the door. Upon seeing this, Hong Fu quickly started to make arrangements, instructing, "Go back and tell the master that the person has arrived." After speaking, he went to the carriage and helped the grim-looking Li Yunjiao down. Li Yunjiao looked up at the Qi King's residence and sighed. "I have kept my promise. Hopefully he has kept his too." Hong Fu dared not say much, only respectfully accompanying Li Yunjiao inside. Before long, Li Yunjiao arrived in the hall. He took no chances, holding a brocade box in both hands, and said, "This item is the wordless heavenly writing I mentioned yesterday." Lu Zhou's gaze fell on the brocade box and asked, "Do you know what this item is used for?" Li Yunjiao answered. Strangely, the Empress Dowager had been ill for years, suffering from chronic heart pain. By chance, she used this item as a pillow, and within a month, the illness was cured. Presumably, this item is not a book for viewing, but something like an ancient jade that contains power. You are quite good at guessing. Lu Zhou did not expose him, letting him think as he wished. After saying this, he took the brocade box and opened it directly. The system alert sounded, obtained one part of the heavenly writing scroll. Indeed, it was the part of the heavenly writing scroll Lu Zhou had been longing for. But when he saw this part of the heavenly writing scroll, he slightly frowned. "Is there still one part missing?" Li Yunjiao was startled and hurriedly explained, "I have absolutely no intention of hiding anything. Otherwise, why would I have waited until today? Over the years, I have had countless opportunities." Lu Zhou shook his head and said, "It's not about you. The part of the heavenly writing inside the box was the middle part, meaning there is still one part out there. Did old Demon Ji only give one part? It should also be in the palace. Where could the last part be? It's unfortunate that I didn't bring the ancient sheepskin map with me. Otherwise, I could look for other clues. But thinking about it now is useless. I will know when I go back." Li Yunjiao hesitated for a moment, not daring to question further, his heart starting to feel anxious. "The agreement I had previously with the elder. It's not strange for old Demon Ji to be fickle." Lu Zhou glanced at him and said indifferently, "I always keep my promises. You have done well." Hearing this, Li Yunjiao finally relaxed and said, "There is another matter I seek. When I left the palace, I had informed the Empress Dowager that I would return the heavenly writing." The Empress Dowager asked repeatedly, "And I truly had no sufficient reason to take the heavenly writing away, so I used Princess Zhao Yu as an excuse. The Empress Dowager wants to meet Zhao Yu." After hearing this, Lu Zhou glanced sideways, and Li Yunjiao quickly explained again, "Only the Empress Dowager and I know about this. Within the palace walls, I swear by my life that I will remain silent henceforth." Lu Zhou thought for a moment, then turned to Zhao Yu. "Zhao Yu, you decide this matter for yourself." Zhao Yu was surprised to hear this. Since joining the sect, the disciples had few opportunities to make their own decisions. She hadn't expected such a significant decision to be left to her. Zhao Yu did not decide immediately, but after some thought, she answered, "I would like to see for myself." "Then go ahead." Lu Zhou waved his hand, glanced at Zhao Yu, and noticed her loyalty was rapidly increasing. "I pledge my life to protect her safety." After saying this, Li Yunjiao made a gesture of invitation. Zhao Yu then followed him outside. Disciple takes leave. After the two left, Qin Jun approached Lu Zhou and bowed. "I didn't expect that Princess Yunjiao's orphan would become the elder's disciple. Fate plays its tricks." Lu Zhou sipped his tea and said, "I do not care whose orphan she is." Qin Jun nodded. "What the elder says is very true." At this moment, a servant ran in from outside. "Your letter." Qi King Qin Jun frowned. "My letter?" He opened the letter and realized, "Elder, it's for you." At this point, little Yuaner jumped out, opened the letter, and read aloud, "Old predecessor, I am at the sword Tomb ruins. There might be something here you are looking for. Your disciple is quite troublesome. With that thought, little Yuan knew who it was. Lu Zhou listened and frowned slightly. The Sword Tomb ruins? Qin Jun bowed and said, the Sword Tomb ruins are adjacent to the royal tombs. Is said to be a place of utmost bright, where many fine swords are buried. The tombs face the dark, harmonizing with the bright to nurture the swords. Every decade or so, cultivators go to the Sword Tomb to try their luck. That makes sense, Lu Zhou thought to himself, realizing after all this time that Jian Ijian was there looking for fine swords. No wonder he would go to such a place. Jian Ijian loves swords as his life, treating them as his very life. With such an opportunity, how could he miss it? Safe travels, elder, said Qin Jun. Lu Zhou did not say much, stood up with his hands behind his back, and returned to his room. Back in his room, he opened the brocade box again to check the part of the heavenly writing inside. Lu Zhou took out the fragment of the heavenly writing scroll, and as soon as he touched it, the scroll transformed into specks of starlight that floated towards him. In an instant, the fragment of the heavenly writing scroll disappeared. Lu Zhou sensed the divine power of the heavenly writing. No new divine power appeared, indicating that he still needed to find the remaining part of the heavenly writing scroll. Lu Zhou sat cross-legged, no longer pondering this matter, and entered a state of contemplating the heavenly writing. As night fell, the divine capital was quiet. A carriage sped toward the imperial city on the streets. A figure in a green robe hovered above the Qi King's residence, showing a faint smile. Congratulations, junior sister. After the smile, he looked towards the northwest direction of Great Flame and gently shook his head. You are much luckier than me. After saying this, Yu Shangrong's body erupted with terrifying sword energy, driving the surrounding forceful energy to shoot violently into the distance. Thousands of sword shadows appeared in the sky, shooting out like a flood overwhelming the mountains, demonstrating the fate of the sword demon. Those in-colored sword forceful energies seemed to have eyes, flying towards the nearby lurking black-clothed cultivators. The sword rain fell from the sky, piercing their chests, one after another, bodies falling from the rooftops to the ground, utterly powerless to resist. When the sword rain stopped, the bodies of those black-clothed cultivators had all fallen. Longevity sword returned to its sheath, and Yu Shangrong floated in midair as if nothing had happened, looking down from above. He didn't even glance at the bodies, instead turning to look in the direction of Qi King's residence and sighed. Master, oh master, Qi King is the big brother's man. Why do you always wander around? Yu Shangrong retracted his aura, overlooking Qi King's residence. At that moment, a faint blue light drifted out from Lu Zhou's room, catching Yu Shangrong's attention. The blue light was like fireflies on a night, or like moonlight scattered on the water's surface, shimmering. Even with his experience as the sword demon, he couldn't recognize what it was. Driven by curiosity, he flew towards it. The specks of blue light, dense like stars, slowly emerged like blue smoke. Yu Shangrong grew more curious, moved closer, and watched the swirling pale blue light, unable to figure it out. This unseen force was like a barrier's power, yet it was not. The specks of starlight drifted toward the sky. He couldn't help but stretch out his right hand, wanting to touch it. But just then, a deep voice burst out. Who goes there, sneaking around? The firefly-like blue energy instantly solidified into forceful energy with the sound wave, merging into one and blasting upwards. Yu Shangrong realized something was amiss, immediately enveloped his body with protective forceful energy, continuously clapping his hands, and stepping on the void, he rapidly retreated. At this time, Lu Zhou inside the room also opened his eyes and looked up. He could sense the general situation outside while he was in the state of contemplating heavenly writing, especially the place where the starlight appeared above. It was a sensitive area. When Yu Shangrong made contact, Lu Zhou felt someone approaching. Lu Zhou called out, Little Yuaner. Upon hearing this, Little Yuaner immediately swooshed into the room. Bring back the assassin. Prioritize self-protection. Do not pursue too deeply. Quick return. Disciple obeys. Little Yuaner received the order and immediately darted out of the room. She leaped onto the rooftop, surveyed the surroundings, sensed the location where the primal energy had erupted, and fully executed the Supreme Purity Jade Slip's 7 stars gathering cloud step, disappearing instantly. This shout from Lu Zhou startled Qi King Qin Jun. Elder, what has happened? Qin Jun was apprehensive, glancing around nervously. Divine Capital was supposed to be the safest place, yet so many troubles had arisen since the elder's arrival. Lu Zhou shook his head and said, let it be. Qin Jun paused, dared not ask further, and could only reluctantly retreat outside the room. Still uneasy, he sent people to check the surroundings and simultaneously strengthen patrols. Meanwhile, Little Yuaner left trails of afterimages on the quiet, dim streets. After chasing into an alleyway, she found that the aura of the primal energy fluctuations had disappeared. Where is he? Little Yuaner found it very strange. With her cloud-stepping boots, the techniques from Supreme Purity Jade Slip, and the 7 stars gathering cloud step, under normal circumstances, even if facing a 4th or 5th leaf cultivator in a mere speed contest, Little Yuaner would have a fighting chance. She hadn't expected the target to run so fast. Possibly a master, better not to chase. Recalling her master's words, she turned around and headed back. At that moment, Yu Shangrong suddenly emerged from the darkness. Little junior sister. Little Yuaner focused her gaze. Second senior brother? A faint smile appeared on Yu Shangrong's face, and he praised. I didn't expect little junior sister to have obtained the cloud robe feather dress and also broken through to the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Not bad. It really is you, second senior brother. When did you start moonlighting as a thief? Little Yuan asked, happy yet confused. Yu Shangrong spread his arms, inspecting himself. Do I look like a thief? Second senior brother. Master told me to bring you back, Little Yuan said. Yu Shangrong chuckled softly. Why has Master come to the divine capital? Hearing this, Little Yuan sadly lowered her head. Master is investigating fifth senior sister's background. Fifth senior sister is really pitiable. I've been upset for a long time. Watching her sorrowful expression, Yu Shangrong couldn't help but laugh, not knowing quite what to say. This confirmed his view that this little junior sister, whom he had met only a few times, truly was a kind-hearted girl. Is Master in good health? Yu Shangrong asked. Very well, Little Yuan answered truthfully. After hearing this, Yu Shangrong fell into contemplation. The power of the barrier has already been used once. How can he still maintain such a high spirit? Suddenly a term popped into his mind, a dying flash of brilliance. Little junior sister, I still have things to do. You should head back early. See you next time. Yu Shangrong smiled and gently waved his hand, then stepped into the air and disappeared. Little Yuaner scratched her head, feeling that something was off but couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. Afterwards, she went to her master's door and said softly, disciple is not skilled enough and let the thief escape. Please punish me, master. Lu Zhou nodded. Don't blame yourself. The opponent was strong enough to escape your pursuit. Go on, master. I didn't expect second senior brother would turn into a thief. His speed was too fast. I really couldn't catch up. Lu Zhou frowned slightly. The one on the rooftop just now was that miscreant Yu Shangrong? No wonder you couldn't catch him. Although it's a pity I didn't act personally, regretting now is useless. Go and rest. Disciple obeys. Little Yuaner then returned to her room, and Lu Zhou fell into thought. Why would that miscreant Yu Shangrong appear in divine capital? He always had this feeling. Yu Xinghai, Yu Shangrong, and Si Wuya seemed to know his whereabouts very well and always managed to escape at just the right moment. When heading to Clarity Sect, the four great protectors acted as obstacles. In Anyang City, he encountered Yu Shangrong and Yu Xinghai giving gifts. At the Lotus platform, he saw Yu Xinghai's flying chariot, and now at the Qi King's residence in divine capital, he encountered Yu Shangrong again. Various signs indicate that someone is closely monitoring his movements. Time quickly advanced to the next day, and Qin Jun, along with the butler, was waiting outside Lu Zhou's room early in the morning. After a long wait, with no sign of activity inside the room, the butler, Hong Fu, felt something was amiss. Master, could something have happened? Early this morning, the city guards found many bodies nearby, suspected to be assassins. Hong Fu asked cautiously. Qin Jun shook his head. Let's wait a bit longer. To disturb the elders' rest rashly is to risk our heads. As the sun climbed high, still, there was no movement inside the room. Unable to bear it any longer, Qin Jun leaned in and tried calling out to the elder. But when he looked up, he found that Lu Zhou's figure was already gone from the room. No one? Qin Jun realized something was wrong, slapped his thigh hard. Quickly notify sect leader Yu. Tell him the elder has already left divine capital. He might have gone to the Sword Tomb ruins. The old butler hurriedly responded, yes. Just as his words fell, Lu Zhou emerged from little Yuaner's room. Seeing this, Qin Jun froze on the spot, as if spellbound, unable to move. The only thing he couldn't control was the trembling that came from fear and dread. Lu Zhou stretched lazily with an expressionless face, looking up at the sun like an ordinary person. The weather is really nice today. Lu Zhou stretched, showing no sign of anger on his face. Little Yuaner ran up from behind and started massaging his shoulders knowledgeably. The atmosphere became extremely eerie and oppressive. Lu Zhou's gaze fell on Qin Jun, sending secret messages. Qin Jun and the butler were terrified, immediately kneeling down, not daring to look up at him. Qin Jun dares not. What advantage did that miscreant Yu Xinghai offer you? Lu Zhou asked. Qin Jun quickly answered. Elder sees clearly. The younger generation is only friends with sect leader Yu. Friends? Lu Zhou looked at him skeptically. Qin Jun enunciated each word forcefully, the life and death of his entire family at stake, his voice a bit louder than before. From beginning to end, I have had no intentions of harming Evil Sky Pavilion. If there is a shred of falsehood, may I die a terrible death. Lu Zhou shook his head and continued to inquire. What exactly did Yu Xinghai have you do? Qin Jun confessed everything, passing on affairs of divine capital, transmitting messages from the palace. I have received the elder's kindness and would never dare betray the Evil Sky Pavilion. You've received my kindness, yet you repay that miscreant? Lu Zhou asked coldly. Hearing this, Qin Jun's mind went blank. The old butler Hong Fu mustered his courage and spoke. I dare to say one thing, and after speaking, I am willing to die as atonement. Actually, someone like the old butler Hong Fu is someone Lu Zhou would not usually give a second glance. But this butler indeed differed from ordinary people. From the moment Lu Zhou stepped into Qi King's residence, Hong Fu's performance had been noteworthy, so Lu Zhou held a fairly good impression of him. Speak. The old butler couldn't care less about formalities at this point, and hurriedly began. Sect leader, you had no idea you would come to divine capital. If the master intended to send secret messages, why would he have waited until today? The master indeed had dealings words with sect leader Yu, but the master has stated in front of sect leader Yu that he would never engage in any plots against Evil Sky Pavilion, otherwise they would not cooperate. There's a portrait of you in the master's study. If it weren't so, why would the master often reminisce about this painting? This sounded strange, being alive and well yet reminisced about daily by another man. As Hongfu spoke, he signaled to a servant nearby, who immediately understood and rushed to the study. Before long, he brought back the portrait. The portrait was indeed of Lu Zhou, though slightly aged, with thick wrinkles, but it bore some resemblance to him in spirit. Little Yuan laughed after seeing it. It's not a good likeness. Doesn't look like you. Lu Zhou's gaze fell on the inscription next to it. In the spring of the 23rd year of Yongshou, from your teacher Ji Tiandao. Better not to have looked. With a casual wave of his hand, Lu Zhou dispersed the portrait into dust with forceful energy, letting it scatter with the wind. Does that miscreant even deserve to use the words from your teacher? Reverse the heavenly Ganges. Lu Zhou said these words calmly, not angrily, merely expressing his thoughts. These words are puns with profound implications. He knew Yu Zhenghai coveted the entire world, so could Yu Zhenghai also covet the treasures within the Evil Sky Pavilion? But on reflection, what Hongfu said made sense. If Qin Jun really had ill intentions, he would have informed Yu Zhenghai long ago. There was no need to wait until now. At this point, Hongfu continued, the master thought to inform sect leader Yu only after you left, because sect leader Yu had said two things. Lu Zhou asked, which two things? Hongfu hesitated in his response. I dare not say. Lu Zhou's gaze became intense as he stared at him. You indeed know how to behave and to handle matters, but that doesn't mean you can play games with me. Seeing the growing chill in Lu Zhou's eyes, Qin Jun couldn't help but speak up. The first thing sect leader Yu said was that he hopes you can spend your twilight years peacefully at the Evil Sky Pavilion. Little Yuan curiously asked, what's the second thing? The second thing sect leader Yu said was that he hopes you will never remember those matters. The crime of betraying the sect should eventually return to dust, to the earth. After finishing, Qin Jun added, word for word, exactly as he said. This left little Yuan completely confused. What does that mean? In fact, neither Qin Jun nor Hongfu understood the meaning of the second sentence, but to Lu Zhou, it carried a significant amount of information. It implied two things. First, Yu Zhenghai knew that he had missing memories. Second, there were hidden circumstances behind Yu Zhenghai's betrayal of the sect. After a moment of silence, Lu Zhou spoke, let the miscreant come to divine capital. Upon hearing this, Qin Jun broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly responded, Elder, it's not just me. Even if your seventh disciple exhausted all his tricks, he might not be able to arrange a meeting between sect leader Yu and you. Little Yuaner became even more intrigued. Why? I don't know that. Please, Elder, spare Qi King's residence. The others also cried out together. Please, Elder, spare Qi King's residence. Lu Zhou nodded. Considering your good intentions, I can spare Qi King's residence. Qin Jun and the others bowed deeply. Thank you, Elder. Ding. A system alert sounded. Received devout worship from 15 people. Gained 150 points of merit. Hearing the system's alert, Lu Zhou remained expressionless. However, his tone changed. It seems you'll have to stay at the Evil Sky Pavilion for a while. The implication of his remaining words was clear. Since Qin Jun had dealings with Yu Zhenghai, he must know some important information about Yu Zhenghai. How could Lu Zhou let this clue slip by? Hearing this, the butler and his men immediately tied up Qin Jun. Qin Jun seemed to understand why Lu Zhou was doing this. Bowing his head, I am willing to divulge all correspondence with sect leader Yu. Just then, dozens of cultivators flew low over divine capital, causing everyone to look up. According to the law, except in special circumstances and the imperial city's guard forces, flying in divine capital is forbidden. The sudden appearance of these flying cultivators caught the attention of the people below. Yuaner, disciple here. Little Yuaner immediately responded. Take him away. Lu Zhou instructed. Little Yuaner, excited, asked, shall we chase after them? Lu Zhou pondered for a moment, then looked at the old butler. Prepare the carriage. Old Hong understood Lu Zhou's intent and quickly called the servants to prepare the carriage, then had his master, Qin Jun, tied up and placed in the carriage. Qin Shua and Qin Ruobing were still in shock. Old Hong comforted them. Young master and miss, don't worry, the master is just going to the Evil Sky Pavilion for a visit. He will return. Qin Shua was utterly speechless, and Qin Ruobing sighed regretfully. If I had known, I would have had them take me along too. After abducting Qi King, Lu Zhou drove the carriage towards the direction where the cultivators were heading outside the city. Little Yuaner asked curiously, Master, wouldn't it be better if we just flew there like them? Before Lu Zhou could respond, Qin Jun awkwardly stuck his head out, tentatively asking, could you untie me? Little Yuaner waved her fist, wishful thinking. Seeing this, Qin Jun could only look pleadingly at Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou then instructed Little Yuaner to loosen his bindings. At this point, with nowhere to escape, whether Qin Jun was tied or not made no difference. Qin Jun quickly expressed his gratitude after being untied. Soon, the carriage stopped just outside the city. Qin Jun leaned in close to Lu Zhou and volunteered. Once the Sword Tomb ruins are open, quite a few cultivators are likely to head there. We should keep a low profile. Little Yuaner eyed Qin Jun suspiciously, thinking to herself, this guy, how come he feels more like one of us than our own? Where's the Sword Tomb? Little Yuaner asked. Qin Jun answered, answered. It's 30 miles northwest behind the Toon clusters near the Imperial City. Seeing that Lu Zhou didn't respond, Qin Jun continued, that letter mentioned your disciple is quite troublesome. Was it that gentleman trying to trouble the elder's eyes and ears? Lu Zhou shook his head and did not answer. He stepped into the air, flying toward the northwest. Lu Zhou didn't know which disciple was troubling Jianaijian, whether it was Yu Shanrong, Yu Jinghai, or Si Wuya. It could be any of them. Whoever it was, as long as he encountered them, he would subdue them on the spot. What are you dazing for? He's already gone. Little Yuana reminded Qin Jun, and then quickly followed behind her master. I'm coming, I'm coming. Qin Jun came to his senses and hurried after them. He found that Lu Zhou's flying speed was similar to his own, which deeply moved him. The elder even adjusts his flying speed for me. I'm truly ashamed. Although the trio's flying speed was not as fast as that of someone in the nascent divinity tribulation realm, the Sword Tomb ruins were not far away. They quickly arrived at a mountain range extending for 2 miles. Lu Zhou followed the rugged foothills and soon heard a burst of heated arguing. People from Darknet are really detestable. The Sword Tomb is open to everyone. Why should they block the path? Who can argue when they're led by a demon? Don't forget, Darknet's leader Si Wuya is the 7th disciple of Evil Sky Pavilion, Old Demon G's student. Old Demon G, I respect, but this Si Wuya, I don't respect. He's just a traitor. Lu Zhou and his companions took a detour and saw the group of cultivators, about 50 or more, with various cultivation levels ranging from the Brahma Sea realm to the Divine Court realm, including one in the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Jianaijian was squatting alone on a stone stool, dangling idly, seemingly doing nothing. Lu Zhou then called out his name. Jianaijian shuddered all over, slid off the stone, and upon seeing it was Lu Zhou, he quickly reached out his hand, shamelessly rushing to greet him. Old senior, long time no see. I've missed you. Lu Zhou looked at the blocked path and asked, what's causing all this commotion? Jianaijian pointed to a pile of boulders and explained, your disciple blocked the road. Is it difficult for someone of your cultivation to clear the way? Lu Zhou retorted. Jianaijian cleared his throat and responded, I, as the foremost among the 3 great sword fanatic, beloved by people and flowers alike, a master of swordsmanship, would not stoop to do such lowly work. Lu Zhou stared intently at Jianaijian, making him feel uneasy. In your letter, you mentioned that there is something in the sword grave that I need? Jianaijian nodded. Indeed. Old senior asked me to investigate something from Evil Sky Pavilion, and it took me a lot of effort. You don't realize until you look into it, but it's quite shocking once you do. Jianaijian continued, the Empress Dowager has 2 so-called wordless heavenly writings, both originating from Evil Sky Pavilion. He looked around, then leaned closer to Lu Zhou and said, the Empress Dowager was ill, and later it was rumored that the wordless heavenly writing cured her ailment, so she gave one of the heavenly writings to the retired emperor. Unfortunately, it was of no use, and the heavenly writing was buried with the retired emperor. Upon hearing this, little Yuana raised an eyebrow. Are you saying you want to dig up graves for my master? Jianaijian waved his hands repeatedly. I wouldn't do such a despicable thing. I'm here to find a demonic sword. Lu Zhou became curious. A demonic sword? Jianaijian explained. The sword grave is backed by a tomb and nourished by the most bright and the most dark energies. Over the years, the sword grave must have nurtured some exceptional swords. How could I, the foremost among the 3 great sword madmen, miss such a situation? Lu Zhou expressed doubt. Would the royal tombs be freely excavated by others? Jianaijian laughed and waved his hand. The sword grave is the sword grave. The tombs are the tombs. To the south of Purple Sun Mountain is bright. To the north is dark, stretching for miles. The 2 are unrelated. He suddenly stopped, realizing the elder before him had much more experience and knowledge than he did. Indeed, they are not together, but both are on Purple Sun Mountain. Perhaps it has already been breached. Can you bear to watch it happen? Lu Zhou's implication was clear. You're a prince after all. Are you content to have your family's tombs desecrated? Hearing Lu Zhou's words, Jianaijian was momentarily at a loss for words. Lu Zhou continued forward, arriving at the blocked path where the group of cultivators turned to look back. Seeing such an elder, they quickly made way. Clear it, Lu Zhou said indifferently. Those around looked at each other, wondering to whom the old man was speaking. Little Yuan pointed at Jianaijian. It's you. Jianaijian felt like crying, but no tears came. However, for the sake of that demonic sword, he endured. He then stepped off the ground, floating in the air, arms extended. The dragon roar sword unsheathed from his embrace, a golden light circling the blade, forming a massive sword forceful energy that slashed directly at a large boulder not far away. After Jianaijian drew the dragon roar sword, his demeanor instantly became much more fierce. The many cultivators present saw this, and immediately their expressions changed, hurriedly stepping aside. He just said he couldn't do it, didn't he? That aura is nascent divinity tribulation realm. He is a nascent divinity tribulation realm expert. The dragon roar sword was unsheathed, and an ethereal golden dragon spiraled behind Jianaijian as he focused and swung his hands downward. With a boom, the massive sword forceful energy directly struck the boulder, shattering it and sending dust flying. All cultivators quickly activated their protective forceful energy to block the flying debris. After a moment, as visibility cleared, the entire boulder was seen split by the dragon roar sword. sword. Jian Aijian looked at his handiwork and nodded in satisfaction. There's no way around it. It's just that flashy, just that powerful, Jian Aijian said with a smug expression. Little Yuaner hadn't expected this thick-skinned person could unleash such a powerful move. She had underestimated him usually. Lu Zhou nodded in approval, and Qin Jun and Little Yuaner quickly followed him. Seeing the cultivators observing Jian Aijian's respectful treatment of the old man, they didn't dare to delay and said, "The elder goes first. The elder goes first." Little Yuaner bared her fangs fiercely and said, "You're the one who's old. Your whole family is old." The group was startled by her, and Little Yuaner pouted. "Shall I chase them away?" Lu Zhou shook his head. "No need. There are many swords in the sword grave, and those with insufficient cultivation can't take the demonic sword. Having enough people remove swords from the sword grave will help weaken the sword formation." Jian Aijian quickly agreed. "Makes sense. The old senior is indeed wise and experienced. Admirable indeed." Little Yuaner made a face at Jian Aijian. "Bootlicker, blah blah blah." Qin Jun bowed and said, "Does the master mean that the swords in the sword grave are masterless?" Lu Zhou replied, "Masterless swords are easy to claim, but destroying them requires some effort." Qin Jun had an epiphany. "I see. I have learned something new." The cultivators behind them heard the conversation and looked pleased. "The master is absolutely right. Unity is needed in the sword grave, and many hands make light work. Our cultivation is weak, so we'll take the ordinary swords, and the master, with his high cultivation, can take the better swords. It's perfect. The master is kind-hearted and magnanimous, not like Siwuya, that despicable and selfish man." Little Yuaner glanced awkwardly at her master, but Lu Zhou was not angry. It serves his wayward disciple right to be criticized. Before long, the group arrived at the entrance to the sword grave, only to find it blocked by another large rock. Why would he do that? It harms others without benefiting himself, and the sword grave is right ahead. Someone wondered aloud. Lu Zhou ignored the discussions and simply called out, "Jian Aijian, clear the way." "Me again?" Jian Aijian, feeling everyone's eyes on him, resignedly said, all right, I'll do it." In an instant, Jian Aijian effortlessly cleared the roadblock. Qin Jun speculated, "It must be to buy time. These boulders can't stop cultivators. His actions are clearly to gain time. It's not so easy to get the demonic sword." Jian Aijian replied, "You're right, but don't forget, he is Siwuya, the seventh disciple of Evil Sky Pavilion." Upon stepping into the sword grave, one sword mound after another appeared before them. The mounds were filled with various swords of different shapes, colors, and sizes. The cultivator's eyes lit up, but Jian Aijian shook his head. "These are all mediocre, common blades." Lu Zhou, naturally uninterested in these common blades, led his group further on. The lower-level cultivators also noticed this issue, and after some testing, they found no notable swords either. Common blades need nurturing, and deeper in the sword grave, better conditions for celestial timing and geographical advantages are often found. As they walked, Jian Aijian asked with a chuckle, "Sometimes I'm really curious, who built such a vast sword grave and filled it with so many swords? What was their purpose?" Lu Zhou stroked his beard and said, "The so-called sword mounds are places for managing swords. Swords outlive humans, accumulating over the years while people perish, resulting in ever more swords. Enthusiasts gather them together, create sword mounds, and seek to refine and nourish them." Qin Jun also spoke up, "This sword grave is nothing special. Rumor has it that beyond the Great Flame Misty Forest, there's a sword mound holding 100,000 swords, where countless sword masters of 7 or even 8 leaves are buried along with their swords, each one a top pick from thousands, and there are tens of thousands more swords buried with them." Little Yuaner pouted and said irritably, "They are all crazy." Jian Aijian chuckled, "It's not madness. I completely understand. When I die, I'll gather all my collected fine swords together. My swords, not meant for others to touch. I'll also set up a tremendous formation for protection and find 1,000,000 swords to bury with me. I'll stand in the center of the sword mound and see who dares come for my swords." As he said this and saw everyone looking at him strangely, he quickly added, "Don't look at me like that. I'm just bragging, just bragging." Jian Aijian's voice faded as he spoke. Just as he finished speaking, a scream suddenly came from deep within the sword grave. "There's a noise. Let's go check it out." Everyone immediately quickened their pace, with the lower-level cultivators also following closely behind. Despite some nerves, the thought of the fine swords deep in the sword mound excited and thrilled them. In a moment, the 4 of them flew deep into the sword city. They saw streams of flying swords passing through the air, with the primal energy flowing around, as if a special force was directing its movement. "There are flying swords," someone exclaimed.